Birmingham, England, where the relentless industrial thrum of machinery echoed and progress abounded. Below its teeming exterior, however, an industry of a different sort began to emerge, one of fear and manipulation. This was the domain of Suleman Khan, a man whose name alone struck fear into hearts. Ruling with a cold-hearted efficiency and steely grip on power, Khan, known as the General, well deserved his name. He ruled Birmingham's underworld. His power went unchallenged. His word was law. He dealt in drugs, protection, and violence, every deal and transaction carefully orchestrated under his eye. Khan's empire feasted on fear, the terror of the new, and the bloodletting from his hand. And the tales of those who dared to defy him became cautionary fables. Whispers in the dark spread tales of his cruelty, building upon itself, creating an untouchable legacy for him. He had evaded the law for years. Just about every corner of Birmingham was under Khan's thumb, moving drugs freely through his territory and using intimidation to extort local businesses he demanded payment from for protection. The shadow made its presence known but was hardly ever heard, watching over the city unmoving, silent. Because Birmingham lay within his iron grasp and no one was brave enough to oppose him. The criminal underworld of the city ran on a moral compass, honor, deception, and silence, intrinsic to its establishment. In Birmingham, Suleman Khan was the face of the name that carried power in every hushed conversation, one filled with fear and a touch of begruding respect. The enforcers on which his city depended to serve as its eyes and ears across the urban sprawl. No whisper or betrayal went unnoticed by him. Yet there was one name that constantly echoed alongside his own: Tony Asmat, a rival, a threat, and a man who dared to challenge Khan's reign. Asmat's mere presence was a thorn in Khan's side, a persistent reminder that even the strongest hold on power could be contested. Tony Asmat's demise was both swift and ruthless. Asmat got a proper contract hit, precise, fast, and brutal. He was shot dead with one bullet that night. It happened in the dark, giving the clearest message. No one could mess with Suleman Khan, better known across Birmingham as the General. Indeed, there was never any question about Khan's supreme power. No opposition whispers could be heard in the streets that once burbled with life. Just a pervasive silence. Birmingham, the city where once conversation buzzed in its streets and avenues, fell into a chilling silence as an atmosphere of intimidation and trepidation took over. Asmat's end, like many others among Khan's underworld associates, was a matter of discussion. One claim is that it was a business deal gone wrong, while others felt it was a carefully thought-out betrayal. Gossip abounded, but as always in Khan's realm, the truth remained hidden behind many layers of fear and intimidation. What everyone did know for sure was that Asmat, once a major player in the city's criminal world, was now met one of Birmingham's many grim destinies. His demise served as stark warning. To cross Khan was to end up dead. The police knew full well that Khan had a hand in the killing of Asmat, but lacked hard evidence. Khan's criminal empire lived on intimidation. Witnesses to be, understandably, remained silent, too afraid of the retaliation they would suffer. The hunt ground to a halt. Despite increasingly frequent suspicions, the forces of law and order remained uncomfortably unable actually to act against the man whose very name had come to mean terror in the city. Yet as years passed and Birmingham's criminal landscape shifted, cracks began to appear in Khan's once ironclad rule. The police, although frustrated by earlier failures, never gave up on their pursuit of Khan. Slowly, methodically, they built their case, gathering bits of evidence wherever they could. The turning point came with the arrest of the Fitzgibbon brothers, key figures in Khan's operation. Caught in a significant drug bust, the brothers were found with a mountain of evidence that tied them directly to Khan's drug empire. With the brothers facing lengthy prison sentences, the tide finally began to turn. Their arrest provided law enforcement with a crucial breakthrough, unraveling part of Khan's criminal network. While Khan himself remained free, the downfall of his most loyal enforcers signaled the beginning of the end for his reign. The once untouchable general now faced the prospect of his empire crumbling around him as the law closed in on the man who had ruled Birmingham's underworld for so long. The Fitzgibbon brothers finally cracked under pressure, becoming informants, and their testimony was damning. They provided a rare look into the vastness of Suleman Khan's criminal empire, exposing layers of illicit operations that had long evaded law enforcement. The once invincible general found the walls closing in on him, and the ensuing trial became a media spectacle. Suleman Khan, the kingpin who had terrorized Birmingham for years, was now being brought to justice. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence: financial records, witness testimonies, and documents detailing Khan's criminal dealings. Yet Khan remained unflinching, his cold and calculating demeanor undisturbed. He pleaded not guilty to the most serious charges, his arrogance on full display, but the jury saw through his facade. The verdict shook Birmingham, guilty on multiple counts of racketeering, drug trafficking, and financial crimes. Khan's reign had ended. He was sentenced to a long prison term, bringing an era of fear and violence to a close. The general was no more. But even behind bars, Khan's presence loomed large. Whispers circulated about hidden assets, unpaid debts, and even threats of revenge. His name continued to evoke fear, and his legacy remained a constant undercurrent in Birmingham's criminal underworld. Some believed Khan still held influence from his prison cell, with loyal followers keeping his network alive. Others dismissed it as urban legend, but the doubt lingered, and the police kept a watchful eye on Khan's associates, knowing his story wasn't entirely over. Too many questions remained unanswered, and too many loose ends were left to tie up. Suleman Khan had always ruled with violence. It was the very foundation of his empire. Even in his absence, the city bore the scars of his brutality. Families of his victims still sought justice, closure, and answers for the pain he had caused. But in Khan's world, justice was elusive, and the scars ran deep. The streets of Birmingham held the memories of his reign of terror. Tales of his ruthlessness still served as warnings to those who might dare to step into the underworld. To some, Khan was nothing more than a predator, a ruthless criminal who brought suffering to the city. To others, he was seen as a product of the environment that had shaped him, a man who rose to power in a brutal world where only the strongest survived. His story, however, stands as a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the corrosive nature of power. Khan's name will forever be etched in Birmingham's criminal history. The general may be gone, but the fear he instilled lingers like a ghost, haunting the streets of the city. In the world of organized crime, debts and obligations are the currency, and Suleman Khan had a long memory. Even from behind prison walls, rumors persisted that his influence extended far and wide, with whispers of hidden assets and unfinished business. His shadow still stretched across Birmingham's underworld, a reminder of the darkness that lurks just beneath the surface. In prison, time moved differently. Days stretched into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. But within the walls of his cell, Khan's mind stayed sharp, constantly plotting his next move. He was well aware that the world outside had changed in his absence. New players had emerged, and the balance of power had shifted. Still, Khan was not a man to be underestimated. He had allies, resources, and an unyielding thirst for revenge. The authorities, mindful of the potential impact of his release, anticipated the ripples it would send through Birmingham's criminal underworld. They were watching, waiting, and prepared to counter his every move. The pursuit of wealth and influence, as seductive as it may be, often comes at an immense cost. The dazzling allure of riches can obscure the dangerous journey it requires, a journey fraught with peril and uncertainty. The streets of Birmingham still echo with the remnants of Khan's reign, his actions leaving an indelible mark on the city, a scar it will bear for years to come. His story is a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It lingers, casting a long, dark shadow over the present and influencing the future in ways that may not yet be fully understood. The tale of Suleman Khan is a testament to the enduring impact of past actions on the present and future, a legacy that will continue to shape the city long after his name fades from the headlines.